All right. I'm gonna kind of try to let this come through. It feels like a lot of pieces, and so I'm hoping that they're giving me that it's my own, like, a not lack of belief in myself, essentially, that I'm not able to flow it more. But regardless, I'm not there yet, so I'm trying. Anyway. Okay, this is what's coming in is that, and I think this is kind of inspired by that. I posted a video on my IG of these two guys dancing about, and the fight between the shadow, how do they describe it? The shadow and the light, or something like that. Like the two different parts of yourself wanting to be seen. I hope I'm saying that right. And then these different pieces started coming to me. So, like, it's very hard when you're going through like really insane experiences. Like it's been very, like, detachment is a brilliant. Detachment is one of the greatest gifts that we're given. And yet it is so hard when you're going through something extreme that you don't want to lash out, or not even just lash out, not lash out even for me, but like, if I feel like I'm that trapped animal, I will sometimes get defensive and aggressive, but like that wanting to displace the blame, like say it's somebody else's fault that you're in the situation that you're in or whatever. And in the bigger picture, I haven't seen all the reasons why, but I also know that this was a part of my journey that I was meant to go through. And I also want to add in there that once you, I haven't seen it from the other, I haven't been able to like see it from in a retrospective angle, from a retrospective angle, but I'm getting too wordy now. There's this need for this kind of it's only oppressive if you see it that way, but this sort of difficult circumstances and a lack of freedom, kind of like you might have a lack of resources, or you might have a lack of options, or something like that, where it's like you're forced to keep looking at, deal with it. Essentially, you're forced to go within, you're forced to meditate, forced is not the right word. You feel called to, and that's why I'm saying different things, because it's kind of like whatever that is for you. It may be maybe something else, but it may be that you're creative, like you're learning how to express, because you're moving through so much, you're having to move through those emotions that have been repressed. So, but there's this battle that happens when you start to choose God, you start to choose your higher self, you walk away. You're walking away from the past, but it's like the past is battling to keep you because their stories are attached to this identity that they have with this other version of you. So I don't know if that ever changes, because it's like there has to be this, I'm not sure if there has to be this resistance, because I think when we're in alignment and we're in flow, you don't feel resistance, but there has to be. That's what forces us to change, is to be put in circumstances that are horrible and uncomfortable, that we don't want to be in anymore, so then we change. But it's easy to look at the people around you who are battling you as like, you know, they are in a sense like your enemy, because they're not your soul tribe, but it's just how you choose to like, it's how you choose to perceive it. Because I've had to realize that I've held really tightly to this hope that I could heal things with my family, that would happen in this lifetime. And it's like God's had to be like, you have to let that go. Like, you have to do whatever you have to do, because I mean, it's given me so much exhaustion and so much heart pain and so much like, and that's what I mean about like, I have to get out of my own frustration about it and realize that it's like, this is still it's still a self journey. Like, it's not, hating my mom. And I don't even hate people that talk shit about me behind my back. Like, I don't really care about any of that. But I have to look at it and see that behavior and be like, I know that's not something that I want in my life. And if I keep allowing it, that I'm still enabling it in a way. I'm still like allowing us to be in a situation that enables these behaviors from the people around us. So kind of yes, kind of not, because it's like I'm not people are accountable for whatever they do. Like, that's out of my control. But if I don't let it go and I keep hoping for some kind of healing or that it's just going to get better or something, that's kind of a delusion that I'm letting myself play out. Because, okay, this is the other thing that came to me, is it's like, there's still like, there's definitely self-sabotage that you want to, when you want there, and there's a need to cope sometimes, but like, there's this desire to self-sabotage sometimes and like do these old habits, or also like letting go of like the also you letting go of the old version of you, because it's like and I'm taking this from this course that I'm doing, but the girl, Sister Shanti, you should check her out. She's amazing. And she talks about how she described her old self as like the Matrix version of her and what she did there. And that helped me to kind of see it as like that lifestyle and what I was doing in that version of myself. Like, me, it's not that fitness is bad or that I don't want to move my body, but it's like I was in a very abusive mindset when I was doing health and fitness, and very selfish, very self-centered, very power hungry. Like, I wanted to create a better life for me and my kid, but it was like I struggled with that, like wanting power, and that a little bit there was some greed there and stuff like that. And that's like the old version of me that needs to be deadened. Like, you know, it's kind of like, I feel like it's not going to the place of resenting it and hating it, because it still is like your story, but it's like not associating with it anymore, and not finding new things that drive my passion and creativity and stuff like that. Like, not wanting, like, okay, I don't want to drift away too much. So you start to see how it's like there's a lot of this need to be on this solo journey, because you don't need other people in your ear all the time, because there are all these people who are just there to distract you or pull you off your path or say, hey, you should do this or do that. And it's like, no, I'm trying to choose what God wants me to do. And that's hard. It's hard to listen. It's hard to know. Like, I get lost all the time. And, I'm still learning how to have these habits that are like really committing, really devoting to the self-love. Like, I can get on track a little bit, but I fall off easily. I fall off easily with like making sure that I'm sticking with the routines that are really giving my body what it needs. And it's a process of learning that. It's like, if all you've ever known is running from yourself, then it's a process to learn what self-care you need. There was something else with Mike. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to try to like let it come together. So something else that I found really interesting is that, like, when you go through so much pain and you feel so alone in it, you may have experienced that when you're younger, maybe whenever you feel like you're the only, you know, there's these moments of feeling very alone in it, or that like people aren't going to understand your pain and stuff like that. And then it starts to get very interesting, because when I started doing tarot, I don't know when it was, and I was listening to some readings before that, and I also realized that even tarot is just that, like, all of these things are like beautiful to have around us and to like learn through, but a lot of them are also distraction, or they just pull you into like a mental confusion kind of. so there was all this stuff in these tarot readings, and I was just like listening to it, and I was like, okay, that's interesting, but like I didn't believe a lot of it, you know, for a long time, and some of it I didn't even want to believe. And then I started to see the different patterns playing out with like my family, and then also with this whole twin flame thing. And it's, to me, it comes back to that there are unique like gifts and talents and creativity that you bring, and that your story and the way that you come back to yourself and everything is very unique, and that adds to your authenticity. And yet the other part is that it's like there's a commonality in our behaviors that I think that shame makes you want to hide it. And I think your ego even protects you in that way of making you think that like you're unique in the way that you do things or something, or that like your ego wants to, there's a desire for superiority or to feel special or something like that, that I think the ego kind of wants to cling to. And especially if like, for me, I think something that I've experienced with that is that trying and failing so much, and failing, that's a word I need to hang a bookmark on to like change, because it's not failure, but like trying so many different things that haven't taken off has been really hard on me. It's been hard on my ego. It's been hard on my self-esteem. And I think that kind of made me want to go back into my shell and be like, okay, no one understands me, or like something like that. But it's like, really, we all have these very similar patterns that we do. We have these very similar patterns that we do in order to cope, like with our pain. So like something I've noticed is that like there's a lot of like hurt and frustration about the whole copycat thing, but it's like everything in the 3D is wrapped up in power and identity to me. So it's like anyone who's not trying to self-actualize, they're just creating their identity based on the stories that other people have told them and based on the people around them. So that's their security. So like I'm thinking of it as an example. It's like I've seen this pattern with men where it's like, I hope my kid's sitting out here. I've seen this pattern with men where it's like they'll look to a woman, they'll be inspired by a woman, like they'll pick someone and it'll be like, this is the woman that inspires me and that I'm gonna live for, or something like that. Like there's some sort of story there. It's maybe kind of lover boy type of energy, but it's like that always ends up being a karmic situation, because you're giving all of your power away to that woman, and that's going to be that woman is going to be the same kind of lost soul where she's still searching for who she is, because a woman in her power is not going to put up with that. Like she's going to be like, no, you need to know who you are, you need to lead, you need to be leading me, or I'm going to leave. Like that's how it is once a woman's in her power. She's not going to stick around for that, because she'll just run over you and hurt you. Like she'll just hurt your ego all the time. And that's not a fun situation in any, like I've noticed that. I'm like, I fully understand men retreating when a woman just cuts down your ego, because it doesn't feel good. Like, and I don't like being in that energy. So that's what I mean about it. It's like there's always this need to be on your own and work on yourself for a time, so that you can actually like level yourself up and then be attracting the people that are on your same level, so you're not in conflict all the time. Yeah, I've seen that cycle. And then it's like a men will often like, or I don't know, I'm thinking of this specifically with, there's a couple of people that are coming to mind where it's like a man will like use the woman as a scapegoat of like, oh, well, she kept, like my dad would do this with like people he dated, was like, oh, that woman kept me away from my kids and stuff like that. And it was like, no, like you're the dad, like you just make the time and you make time for your kids. And it was like, but that kept that story, because he told me a couple of times, like, to me, because I'm the cycle breaker. I'm the one that's like, no, I'm not going to put up with you guys. Like I stand my ground with my parents. So it's like my dad, when my dad and I will talk, he'll be like, yeah, I don't think I was the best dad. And he'll say that stuff to me. And I don't even, sometimes I just kind of let him talk, because it's like, I just hold that space for him, because I don't want to destroy, like, I don't want to destroy either of my parents, even though I want to get us out of this situation and I don't want to be a part of it anymore. It's like, that's their journey. It's not my, I mean, and I did speak up my truth to them the last time, because it's like, I was like, you guys made your choices and it wasn't family. But like my dad, okay, another one that I just observed is, it's like, he'll always be around people that and my mom does the same thing, or she'll try to trump with knowledge. She thinks she's smarter than everybody around her. And she did the same. She would always talk to me in a way. She would always, when we were talking, she'd always be like, I'm a wise woman and I've been through all these things. She would always talk to me that way. And it took me a long time to realize it was like, that was her trying to like one up me, even though I've tried to learn all of my lessons in this lifetime. And it's not that I resent her for that, but it was like, I really thought that I wasn't very smart for a very long time. And that was my journey. So I'm not blaming everybody else, but it's like, your family imprints you. They put their karma on you. So like my dad, he's always around people that he's smarter than, but then it's ironic because he struggles with like technology. And last time I talked to him, he was like, yeah, I'm stuck at this. I hate smartphones. I'm not good with them. But he's like, I'm around people that know how to help me with it and stuff. And it's like, that's what I mean about, like, you realize how it's like people are attracting the things around them that like enable them. So they don't have a reason to change. It's like, my dad loves work and he's always been able to do whatever kind of work he wants. And they both work incredibly hard. Like, to be in your ego is the 3D matrix works your ass. And so, but inner work is a different kind of exhaustion. It's like, you have to learn how to rest. You're moving through a lot of emotions every day. It's a lot on the body in a different kind of way. So it's a labor of love or a labor of ego, I guess. I guess it's one or the other, a labor of the ego or labor of the heart. I don't know. I just felt, I'm not sure why all this is coming out today, but like, I wanted to share that because, I think to keep reminding yourself that it's like, if you're on this journey or you're in isolation or you're trying to choose your higher self, that it's like, that it's like, even through the oppression, it's like there's a bigger picture to it. And I want to say this too, especially for the women, like, the amount of like exhaustion and like rest that the body needs, it continues to blow my mind, because I used to be go all the time. I wasn't go all the time, because it's like, when you work out, you do have to recover. Like, I mean, there is a recovery, but like, I would do and this was when I fell back into addiction with this. Like, I was doing 2-a-days sometimes, when even as a mom, and that's when it was like that I had severe fatigue, like adrenal gland issues, like when I first started slowing down. But it's like, you're learning this whole new way of being. And when the more that I'm like trying to talk to doing mirror work and talking to myself about it, it's like, my shadow has to keep reminding me that it's like, you did all that self-sabotage, so you have to rebuild this relationship with me. Like, you have to recognize that it's like, oh, and like, because there's something related to me taking on that story of like, I have to go hard, I have to be superwoman, that's like that's not a truth. Like, there's no part, even in the healing journey, even if you're trying to help other people, you're not expected to be superwoman, because you're expected to, there really is this need to be relatable. There's a need to be like you may be holding a space for other people, but it's, it's more being grounded to me. That's to me how I feel when I'm like in a state of peace, when more in my body. It's more just being grounded. It's definitely not about doing a lot of things. So that continues to be a story that I've taken on that like is very hard, and because it's like, most of hustle culture is the world that we live in. So we just have to keep giving ourselves compassion and grace, because that's the way back to the heart. All right, I'm almost at 20 minutes. That's enough.